What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Jose Show. Happy Wednesday. I hope that everyone is enjoying their day, and I hope that everyone is enjoying this lovely summer season, which, by the way, I definitely am with this Hawaiian shirt that I'm wearing. But anywho, we still have a lot of good stuff to talk about, so now let's get to it. Now, let's start off today's show talking about Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. So it has been rumored for a while that Barack Obama and Michelle Obama are divorcing. Well, Barack and Michelle Obama are laughing at those wild divorce rumors. Turns out the only thing splitting is their sides from all the ridiculous gossip. Well, the former president popped up on Michelle's podcast IMO, and if you didn't already know, their peak couple goals, the real gem came when her brother and co-host Craig Robinson joked, "Wait, you two actually like each other?" Well, apparently it's a hilarious watch because Michelle playfully said that the rumor mill while Barack jokes she took me back before adding with a grin the relationship was touch and go for a while. So Michelle got a bit real, saying despite the hard times they've been through, there wasn't a single moment in their 33-year marriage when she ever thought about quitting him. Alright, so in fact she said she's a better person because of the man she married, a confession that left Barack looking a little misty-eyed. Alright, so this is really insane, and this is really good that Barack Obama and Michelle Obama are being realistic here about their marriage, because I think it's so damn ridiculous that for so much while now, so many people have been speculating that Michelle and Barack have been divorcing and that they're not good and so. But I think that the reason to why they've been speculating all of this is, first of all, because a lot of these MAGA Republicans that have been speculating all of this are people that don't like Barack and Michelle, and they've always seen them as the inferior people because of their skin color and because of the fact that they are, not really good people according to them, supposedly, and a bunch of other things that are so ridiculous that are going on in their heads. Because as far as what I have noticed that a lot of these MAGA Republicans are the ones that are speculating all of this. I mean, yes, I've also seen people that are non-MAGAs too that are saying the same thing, but I've seen it more with the MAGA Republicans. Now, politics aside, I personally think that you really need to be in a relationship in order to actually know what it's like to be in a relationship and also keep it private, instead of already speculating that the person is not having a really good relationship just because you see that they are supposedly not doing good and just because you don't see them post anything else on social media anymore. At the end of the day, Barack and Michelle, I'm sure that they really want to have their own private life, which is the reason to why they haven't been posting anything on their own social medias about themselves. And we need to be really understanding of all of that, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot be sitting here especially tearing them down, because here's the thing. If we're going to be continuing to tear them down, then that could actually cause a huge risk in their marriage after all, because at the end of the day, yes, they are not doing bad at all, but the more they get to be hearing all of these speculations about their own divorce, supposedly, the more it's going to lead to the fact that Michelle and Barack are going to get irritated to the point that they're going to be like, you know what, we need to split because this is just so damn ridiculous that we keep on hearing all of these rumors about us continuously. And that is the last thing that I want for the Obamas, because the Obamas are goals. They are actually a couple. They are actually the best. They are actually a representative type of couple here. They actually have representation, unlike Melania Trump and Donald Trump, because Melania Trump and Donald Trump, let's be realistic, they are not a couple to me. They are just a bunch of hypocrites that pretend that they are a loving couple, but they actually aren't. Because let's remember that Donald Trump is always hiding Melania Trump, and Donald Trump is always putting her aside and this and that, and I don't really see any lovey and kisses between the both of them. But anyways, this topic is about Barack and Michelle, and not about Trump and Melania. Okay, but anywho, with all of that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I am so also glad that, Barack and Michelle are having a really good time with their marriage. They are enjoying it at their fullest, especially because of the sake that they still need to be there for Malaya and for Sasha, because I know that they are really good daughters that really do want to see their parents together and that need their parents, even though, of course, they are older now. And, at the end of the day, Yes, Michelle and Barack, they've had a really tough marriage, let's be realistic, because of the fact that, they've gone through their tough times, just like any other marriage, but it's normal though. There is no such thing as a perfect marriage, okay? So, with all of that being said, despite all of that, yet again, they are still having a really good marriage. They are still strong at it. And guess what? The fact that they have been together for the past 33 years is already proving that they have a really good marriage and that they are willing to stick together as a couple and that they are a strong couple. Okay. And that is the envy of so many other couples out there and so many other people out there, especially these stupid MAGA supporters out there, which is why they are making up crap that Michelle and Barack are not doing good as a couple. So y'all need to keep your mouth shut. Y'all really need to keep your damn mouth shut. All right, now on to the next topic. Now let's talk about Taylor Swift's dad. So Taylor Swift's dad had to go under the knife for a heart procedure, and she was by his side in the hospital, but now he's feeling fantastic, TMZ has learned. So the singer spokesperson tells TMZ Scott Swift had quintuple bypass surgery over a month ago, and his wife Andrea and their kids Taylor and Austin were with him through the entire surgery and recovery process. Taylor's rep also told us the procedure was not the result of a heart attack, and he's feeling just great. Okay, so Scott, who's been married to Taylor's mom, Andrea, for 37 years, originally went in for a checkup and his doctor saw something which led to the surgery. So his surgery was a complex one. Quintuple bypass is a procedure used to treat patients who have blockages in the major arteries that feed the heart. Blood vessels are taken from another part of the body and transplanted to affected heart vessels to reroute blood flow and bypass the blockages. All right, so Taylor's dad is 73 years old, and the good news here is that most folks made strong recoveries from quintuple bypass surgery, and Scott is a perfect example of this. All right, so this is what I have to say about this. I think that this guy is a very strong guy for surviving this because his heart was blocked, basically. And, without the heart, you can't live, in my opinion. And in my opinion, I believe that the fact that Taylor Swift and Andrea and Taylor Swift's brother was also there, Austin, I believe it was really cool and it was really helping towards Scott Swift because I think that there is nothing better than to have your own family by your side when you're going through tough times like this, because that's when you feel more strength in you. That's when you feel more support in you. And I believe that that was part of the reason to why Scott Swift ended up recovering really well from this surgery, but yet again, he's still recovering, but not as much as he was because of the fact that it's almost been over a month ago since this whole entire surgery. So in my opinion here, I think that the more that this guy is going to be taking care of himself, I believe that the more he is not going to be going through a situation like this. I mean, I'm not sure if this guy has diabetes, if this guy has any other type of disease that might have caused him to go through this situation. But what I can say though is that in these times, especially since he is 73 years old, I can imagine that his own organs are more delicate than they used to be, because the older you get, of course, the more delicate you are with your own body, and also the more that Scott is going to have to take more measures with his own food habits, with his own liquids, with his own exercises, and so in order to keep himself going. All right, so anyways, it really is really a shocker to me, and I think that this guy is a warrior, and I think that Taylor Swift definitely deserves to still have a dad, that's for sure. And I believe that Andrea deserves to still have a husband. I believe that Austin still deserves to have a dad as well. And at the end of the day, love wins, and at the end of the day, God especially is with us every single day. He's with us whenever, wherever. And I know that God was with Scott Swift in this situation. And yeah, I mean, good luck to this guy on the rest of his own recovery. He's got this, and that is all I have to say about this. Now on to the next topic. Now let's talk about Nicki Minaj. So Nicki Minaj was conducting her daily Rock Nation roast, and somehow SZA got looped up in the social media posts, and SOS, a new beef has been born. Alright, so SZA rattled off her first post of the day on X Tuesday, posting Mercury retrograde, don't take the bait, lol silly goose, which Nicki interpreted as a direct shot at her amid her blasting Rock Nation CEO Desiree Perez. So the thing is, SZA is in a completely different time zone, currently on her joint GNX tour with Kendrick Lamar, and had just finished her show at Paris La Défense Arena shortly before midnight European time. So Nicki didn't wait for any clarity or a green light. She took off on SZA in a similar fashion she recently did against Jay-Z, lampooning SZA's singing skills, comparing them to everything from a dead dog to a victim wailing over a bee sting. Alright, so an unfazed SZA clapped back at Nicki and the Barbs, explaining she had just gotten off stage and was unloading thoughts completely unrelated to Nicki, let alone in America. Alright, so SZA's manager Terrence Punch Henderson had also posted about broken Barbies earlier, which also had nothing to do with Nicki. It's the name of his room full of mirrors, group mate Lyric Michelle's new song. So Nicki hasn't reacted to SZA's explanation if it's not justice for Desiree's daughter, Demaray Hodley. She doesn't give a F. Alright, so anywho, there is an update, and SZA's manager Terrence Punch Henderson told The Breakfast Club on Thursday that Nicki Minaj and SZA failed to connect on a song in 2020, but doesn't know how things went so nuclear yesterday. Alright, so this is very insane what's going on here. It really sounds like it to me that Nicki Minaj is pretty much upset about the fact that SZA didn't get to connect with Nicki in a song back in 2020, because of the fact that this right here is really weird, what's going on here. First and foremost, and the reason to why is because I believe that this whole entire fight in between Nicki Minaj and SZA came out of nowhere. Because I didn't hear anything bad going on right before this feud happened. I just saw Nicki Minaj doing her own thing. I just saw SZA doing her own thing as well, with her own stuff, with Kendrick Lamar, and that's it. And what bothers me even more, by the way, is that Nicki Minaj just kept on going on social media like crazy, and a lot of people were paying attention to that instead of, posting positivity on social media. Like whatever the feud is in between Nicki Minaj and SZA, it's either a collab issue, it's either a woman issue, it's either a whatever issue. I believe that Nicki Minaj and SZA need to make up, and they need to be friends, or at least make up and get along as female artists. As female artists, they cannot be letting each other down. As female artists, especially black female artists, they need to support one another. They need to uplift one another, because that's the way that it should go in order to succeed and in order to actually get some love for the love of God. Because if we're going to be continuing on with these stupid shenanigans, then we're going to be seeing more worse things going on. God forbid that Nicki Minaj is going to grab a high heel and throw it at SZA, or SZA is going to be throwing the high heel at Nicki Minaj, just like what Cardi B did towards Nicki Minaj at the Met Gala like 7 years ago, which was really ugly. We cannot be letting any of those things happen. And you know what? I believe here that, in my opinion, SZA is a very calm person. She don't want no feuds with anyone. She is just minding her own damn beeswax. She's just wanting to create, a really good environment with everybody, as far as what I have been noticing. Because I honestly didn't hear anything from SZA, if I'm not mistaken, that she would say anything bad about Nicki Minaj in order for Nicki Minaj to be going off on SZA like this, or to be going off on any of SZA's people, especially on SZA's people. Like, come on now. All right, but anywho, I personally think here that it's really darn weird at the same time that Nicki Minaj then would go off and say, oh my God, well, I would much rather go off on men and cuss at men than, go off on women and this and that, because I know all of the things that women go through in the industry. So yet again, I'm just, going to calm down with women and I'm just gonna, go off more on men. She said something like that on X, I believe, like not so long ago. And I was like, okay, well, Nicki Minaj is all about getting along with women because she knows what women have been going through, and she knows that a lot of men out there have been very abusive over women in the music industry, unfortunately, throughout these past several years, which is why she is what she is towards men. Okay, but now that I'm seeing here that Nicki Minaj is going off on SZA, it's like it doesn't even make any sense. Like, why post something that is pro-woman on X but yet go off on a woman on X? Like, make it make sense at least. Like, I don't really understand of it all, I really think here that this is just something that is a whole entire reality show, in my opinion, just to create more clickbait as well. Because honestly, if there's one thing that people want to see is a bunch of feuding going on, especially with the female artists like Nicki Minaj, like literally. And if there's something too that a lot of people love to see is when there is a lot of, flames going on and a lot of jabs going on and a lot of this going on, and that's not correct in my opinion. It's just so darn bad. It's so darn irritating, and all of that needs to stop for the love of God. And you know what, I don't even know how this video is going to end up at the end of the day, but that is all I have to say. All right, now on to the next topic. Now let's talk about Emma Watson. So Emma Watson ditched the Hogwarts Express for the Speeding Express because she's been hit with a 6-month driving ban for putting the pedal to the metal. Alright, so our favorite witch was caught muggling it a bit too much because she got clocked with doing 38 in a 30-mile-per-hour zone in Oxford, England last July, and after a blink and you'll miss it hearing Wednesday, nearly a year later, she's banned from driving for 6 months. Alright, so to really drive the point home, Emma was also hit with a 1,044 euros fine at High Wycombe Magistrates Court. Think 8 miles over the limit isn't a big deal? Well, let's break it down. Emma already had 9 penalty points on her license. This latest slip up added 3 more, pushing her past the UK's 12-point cap and triggering an automatic 6-month ban. Alright, so ironically, Emma wasn't the only Hogwarts alum in hot water. Her Harry Potter co-star, the legendary Zoe Wanamaker, aka Madame Hooch, was up next in court and also scored a 6-month suspension for a speeding offense in August of 2024. Guess Emma's trading her wand for some walking shoes because there's no magic fix for this ban. Alright, so this is insane that Emma Watson is banned from driving for 6 months, but this just comes to show that Emma Watson cannot be over here abusing her powers of driving. She needs to be following the law, either she likes it or not, because God forbid that her life gets put in danger or any other person's lives get put in danger. And now that she is going to be facing the consequences of not being able to drive for 6 months, she's going to have to depend on an Uber if England has an Uber, or she's going to have to depend on a taxi, or she's going to have to buy herself a freaking bike to get to wherever she wants to get to, because there is no damn way that she's going to be able to walk to wherever she wants to go to over in England. Because I can already imagine that England is a pretty big country, and wherever she's at, it's a really big city, and there's just so much distance going on to the point that you will just get so sick and tired of walking and walking like Jesus Christ. And you know what? I believe that the next time that Emma Watson gets to be having her driving privilege, which is 6 months from now, she's going to be thinking before speeding, and she's going to be really careful about it, especially because I know that these 6 months are really going to be teaching her a lesson to not be abusing her own powers. All right? It's going to be teaching her a really good lesson, that is for sure. And you know what? I wish nothing but luck for poor Emma Watson, that is for sure. Now, I do not want to even imagine having to be walking to wherever I want to go to, because especially in these times that we are living in right now, ladies and gentlemen, where it's so freaking hot outside, to be walking to places and then get sunburned and so and so. I mean, I'm not sure what the weather is over in England, or if it's even summer season over in England, but maybe it is, if I'm not mistaken. Anywho, I really do feel bad for Emma Watson. That is for sure. Okay, and last but not least, Zoe Wanamaker, you two, you need to be careful with what you do as well. All right, and that is all I have to say about this. Please drive safely, drive well, and there are no consequences at all with the freaking law. All right, but anywho, that is it for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's lovely episode of The Jose Show. Till next time, and peace.